Welcome to another episode of Tehachapi with your hosts, Key Budge and Corey Costello. Tehachapi is another way the city of Tehachapi shares information with our community.
Well, welcome to another episode of Tehachapi. I'm Key Budge. Corey Costello joins me today. Corey, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. A lot of stuff going on, and a lot of news and programs that we're rolling out here at the city, which is pretty awesome. So it's keeping us on our toes right now. That's for sure.
It's been one of the busier Februarys that I can remember.
Yeah.
With things that we've got going, and the pandemic has made us look at different things differently, especially with our local economy, and we rolled out. Why don't you go ahead and tell them? I know we talked about it in the last show, but it's the month of March is going to be impacted for small businesses.
Yeah, Small Business Loyalty Program will start March 1st, so basically next week from when this is recorded. And you know, I'm out there right now buying the gift cards from our local restaurants. And then, again, just a reminder, any retail, personal services, restaurant purchases, excluding, you know, the alcohol portion, if you bring those to City Hall, they total over $100. We'll give you a $20 gift card or gift certificate to one of our local restaurants. We picked about 10 or so to kind of start the program with, and you'll have a chance to try something new, try a favorite. You know, my hope is you'll say, I've always wanted to try that place. Maybe this $20 will kind of get me in the door and give me, trying something new. So we have that going on, and just getting all the ducks in a row for that program, which will start March 1st.
Well, I think that when we ask people, they think about shopping local.
Yeah.
But now they really can focus in on making sure they hold on to those receipts. They can combine receipts, come to City Hall, and then be rewarded and go back and have a nice meal here in the greater downtown area.
Yeah.
And maybe try something new. Yeah,
I mean, we're trying to spread out the restaurants kind of all over the corners of the city limits. So we do have, even as far out as, Prime Grill, the newer Indian restaurant out there by the Loves and Flying J, and then other stuff on the other side now off of Tucker. So yeah, really looking at those kind of spread it out, and there's a couple downtown as well. And we've even had some restaurants that we weren't planning on buying gift cards from part of this program, but they're doing well, and they said we want to donate. So here, we're going to give you some gift cards because our business is up because of just our business model. And so they're actually giving back to the program. Unsolicited, just, hey, we want to help. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's very cool that that's happening too.
See, that's small town living right there. Yeah. We take care of our neighbors.
Yep.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So that's something that we can look forward to through the month of March. And if it does well, we're going to roll it over into April, and that's fantastic news for our mom and pops.
Yeah, and just if you go to our website, liveuptehachapi.com, it's on there several spots, and you can see, the rules and regulations for those purchases.
Outstanding. Well, today we want to talk about earthquakes. We want to talk about some new science that has been implemented into technology, at least the way I understand it. But we're going to get it right from California Office of Emergency Services, Amanda Moyer. She is joining us today. You're the program manager for the California Earthquake Early Warning Program. Amanda, welcome to Tehachapi.
Great. Thank you for having me. Yes, Earthquake Warning California technology is the state's earthquake early warning system. And this provides tools and resources to warn Californians before they feel the shaking of an earthquake. And we think that this technology is so imperative to get into the hands of Californians because there are just so many things in life that can catch us off guard. And it's exciting that now earthquakes don't have to.
Yeah, as recent as just over a year ago, we felt the earthquakes out at Ridgecrest. Yeah. I grew up in the Southern California area, so I remember the big Sylmar earthquake. Yep. I remember when I was with the Sheriff's Department, the Northridge earthquake. There's some earthquakes that occur throughout the state of California, but for us here in Tehachapi, historically, we had a huge earthquake in California history back in 1952. And that, we need to make sure that we pay attention to what's going on, and we don't want to see what happened back in 52 happen again.
No, absolutely. And we know living in California, it's not if another large earthquake is going to happen, it's when. So the Earthquake Warning California system relies on innovative technology, and it sends warnings to smartphone applications, operating systems, and via wireless emergency alerts. And just these few moments, seconds before shaking is felt can help first responders, the public, and utility providers take action to save lives.
So this specific technology and part of that is this MyShake app, this early warning. So you've taken this technology and this science and put it into an application that we can have on our phone, and some operating systems already have it included. So what exactly is the MyShake app, and how does that sort of integrate all these early warning systems?
Great question. The MyShake app is an app for mobile devices that uses ground motion sensors from across the state to detect earthquakes before humans can feel them. And it warns Californians to drop cover and hold on in advance of earthquake shaking if they are near where the shaking is happening. And the app can be downloaded via the Google Play or the Apple App Store.
How long has this been? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say a couple other tips associated with the MyShake app are that location services must always be set to on, and this allows the app to provide the warning based on your location. And push notifications are sent to the user's phone or mobile device when needed. And just an important point to make is that the app is not an earthquake predictor. It signals when seismic sensors pick up on shaking that's occurring. And because it's innovative technology, it's continuously being refined and upgraded.
Yeah, my question was going to be how I know I've lived my entire life in California, and we've been talking about an earthquake warning system for years, decades, knowing that it was the one natural disaster there really wasn't much of a warning time for. There was no forecasting or at that time, and every year it seems like it's picked up. So how long has this kind of process been in play in order to get this technology and get these ground sensors and things like that set up to provide this service?
Cal OES, in collaboration with the California Integrated Seismic Network partners, which include the United States Geologic Survey, the University of California, Berkeley, Caltech, and the California Geologic Survey, launched the nation's first state earthquake early warning system in October of 2019.
Now, when we look at the app, when I opened it up, I was able to kind of customize it for myself, where I wanted to see how large a radius around me that I wanted to be alerted. I'm just kind of curious as to what your sense is with that. I mean, I guess it's all GPS located on wherever I'm at that time, right?
Correct. So the app, the threshold for the MyShake app to send an alert is magnitude 4.5 or greater and weak shaking expected. So you can, with the MyShake app, opt to receive notifications of earthquakes in your area or around the world, which you can set, but you'll receive an actual earthquake warning when magnitude 4.5 earthquake or weak shaking is expected in your particular area. And so that's why it's important to make sure that the location on your phone is always on.
It's important. I mean, we've always got our phones on us, and we're such a mobile society. And I know I could find myself, somewhere, whether it's in Bakersfield or in the Antelope Valley or out on the Central Coast on any given day. So I would like to at least have that preparation if I knew something was coming, that from where I was, I could react and make sure that I can make a safe decision for our family if we were driving. Or
if you're in a tunnel, drive faster to get through it. I don't know what you can do at that point, but yeah, I mean, especially because anywhere in California, right, is susceptible for the most part. So yeah, it'd be nice to have that on the location data, knowing wherever you're at, that it could be, could be coming. You can make that call.
With the WEA system, those alerts, is that set up where it also it senses your location, or does it send out like more of would that go out on a statewide alert, or does it just go out to a region for if an earthquake senses it's going to be here in Tehachapi, it's just going to send out to all the cell phones it picks up in our region?
WIA messages are geographically targeted, so you need to ensure that your phone location is turned on to receive WIA messages as well. And they're text-like messages to mobile devices that warn users of imminent threats to their area, like one could receive for a severe weather alert. And the threshold for the receiving a wireless emergency alert is an earthquake with a magnitude 5.0 or greater estimated. And the users, again, must opt into this on their mobile device to allow WIA notifications.
Does the opt-in, is the opt-in part of like just when you get the Amber alerts or you get the large, like the presidential alert, from some major crisis, is it just one single opt-in, or do you have to opt in for the earthquake application itself?
It's one single opt-in in your phone settings to receive WIA messages.
Okay.
And in addition to WIA messages, people can receive earthquake warnings via Android devices now. Google partnered with the United States Geologic Survey and CalOES to include built-in earthquake warning technology in their Android phones. And this began in August of 2020. And this capability is included in new phones and operating system updates. So if someone updates their phone, they can now receive these Android earthquake warnings. And Android earthquake warnings are generated by the same technology that MyShake warnings are sent, and that WIA messages are sent using the ground sensors that are placed throughout the state.
Now, for those that are listening, they might be saying, now, Cal OES, I know I've heard of them, but you guys are always involved when something happens. Like, we'll take the Ridgecrest earthquake. You guys became a major player in facilitating logistically the needs of what that community needed from all different aspects. And the fact that you guys are involved in something that's being proactive to alert people, not just on the reactive side, because that's normally when you guys get involved is on the reactive side. Here, you guys worked in collaboration with these other entities to be proactive for the community. What's that been like? I mean, is that something that you guys are always doing, or this is, for me, it's the first that I've really heard that you guys are taking a very proactive approach in targeting something?
No, as you mentioned, CalOES is very much involved in response to disasters throughout the state, and is really a coordinating body. And one of the major components of the OES mission does also include preparedness and mitigation, and that's where this program fits in the OES mission. And so we encourage earthquake preparedness, and we also encourage general disaster preparedness through preparing for earthquakes. And I mentioned mitigation. Another component of the earthquake early warning system and technology is that it also has industrial uses for earthquake warning in California. So these would be for businesses or industry can also use this technology to prevent death and injury and damage, and really speed the recovery up from any disaster associated with an earthquake. And examples of this technology would be earthquake early warning to notify employees or personnel or guests that an earthquake has occurred, and to take the appropriate protective action, like to drop, cover, and hold on. This technology can also stop elevators. So other uses include stopping conveyor belts automatically at processing plants, or closing utility valves automatically. And a couple examples of where this technology is in use is with BART, The Bay Area Rapid Transit System in the Bay Area uses this technology to slow or stop trains in the event of an earthquake. Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Southern California uses this technology also to warn healthcare providers that may be doing delicate procedures that an earthquake has occurred also, to mitigate any potential harm from an earthquake as much as they can. And again, even these few seconds can save lives and give people an opportunity to take the appropriate protective action for what they're doing at the time, and to drop cover and hold on, or to lock cover and hold on if they're in a wheelchair.
Now, when did the application go live?
The application went live in October of 2019 with the launch of alerting in California.
Since that October of 19 launch, what's the feedback been like?
There have been many earthquakes that met the threshold of these devices, and the feedback has been very positive.
If people want more information, we can send them to the Cal OES website. This also has its own website, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Correct. If people would like more information about Earthquake Warning California, we have a specific website, and our website is earthquake.ca.gov. And in the website, it includes information about the technology that we discussed this afternoon, and it also includes information on preparedness kits and other preparedness measures that people can take in advance of an earthquake.
And if let's just talk about earthquake preparedness or emergency preparedness real quick, and it's a topic that we've covered here on the show a couple of times, but it's always good to remind people. What is the recommendation from Cal OES's perspective that we ask people to prepare for any kind of disaster? What ideally should they be prepared for their families?
And there are many checklists out there that are available, but I'll name some of the highlights. So we encourage people to, for earthquakes specifically, to secure your space. So any water heaters that are unsecured, or any shelving in your house, or high furniture, to secure those to the wall. And then preparing a kit, including first aid kits, flashlights, extra clothes, cash, important documents, and then having a communication plan with your family in the case of an event. And again, these apply to not just earthquakes, but many other natural disasters. Making
sure you've got enough water for your family for at least 3 days is important. But I love the cash aspect. Many people were so reliant, especially here with the pandemic. Yeah. I don't know about either of you, but I've used my credit card far more than I grab cash. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't want to handle cash right now.
Yeah. So they've asked you not to because of the coin shortage at one point. Yeah.
Right. So having cash on hand, and then having it in small denominations, like I always call it garage sale money. Having that envelope with ones, fives, and tens. It's great if you've got $500 tucked away, but if you've got five $100 bills, that gallon of water might just cost you $100. So you want to make sure you've got small denominations that can be used easily if you need it, in the time of an emergency.
No, those are great tips. Having important documents in a protected area, someplace that, they're all in one place that you can easily grab if you need to, potentially evacuate your home also. Having those will help you recover from the disaster more quickly.
Yeah, so there's definitely things that we can do individually and as families to be prepared for that uncertain, or that event that's going to take place that could be a catastrophic event. But there's these little things that give us the few seconds, if not tens of seconds, as the website says, in preparation. So if we're prepared as a family with our emergency prep kit, that's what we want to do. Having this app allows us maybe that critical moment to put ourselves out of harm's way and in a situation of safety in case we are in the middle of a big earthquake.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many things in life that can catch us off guard: pandemics, wildfires, just other situations that arrive in life that are you just don't know. But now earthquakes don't have to catch us off guard, and we're excited to share these tips and tools and resources with people and potentially save lives.
Great. Amanda, let's give the website one more time, and then where we can also download the app, what it's called.
Yes, visit our website at www.earthquake.ca.gov and download the MyShake app for free via Google Play or the Apple App Store.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that we didn't touch base on that maybe you'd like to get out, or do we touch base, hit all the bases today?
I think we really covered it. I think the only other thing that I might like to add is if any community organizations or other groups would like to receive a specific presentation and more information on this technology and tools and resources, we're happy to provide presentations and answer questions. Again, we can be contacted through the website or via email at earthquakeinfo@caloes.ca.gov.
And is there other social media for Cal OES where this information might be? Do you guys on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram?
Yes, we post our Earthquake Warning California material, social media material on the main Cal OES website, and encourage people to follow that for earthquake information and other important information.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and the efforts that Cal OES and this big collaboration has put together for the, this technology and science is all come together to make life a little bit safer for us. So, we appreciate all the time and effort that's put into it.
Great. Thank you very much for helping us spread the word.
You got it. Well, Corey, have you downloaded the app yet?
I haven't. It's a great app, right? A great tool. And I have a couple earthquake tracking apps on my phone after the Ridgecrest earthquake.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Cal OES and all those partners she named, that was before this app became available. But the same technology is what they used to nail it and predict accurately the second earthquake that happened, which wasn't an aftershock. Their point was like, look, there's going to be another one. It's going to be unrelated to this earthquake that happened on 4th of July. And then on the 5th of July, boom,
right.
They're even bigger one. But no, I'm one of those guys. Look, I've traveled in the areas of the country where they warn you about disasters. I don't like it, right? I don't want to know what's coming. So earthquakes, I can live with being prepared for without getting that. Although I do like the fact that maybe, should I be traveling somewhere in Southern California with the wife and the kids to know like, hey, this could be coming. Okay. When I'm away from home,
right, that
might be a good tool to have, because then you can quickly assess your situation and figure out what to do. So I'm on the fence. It's a good app. I'm just trying to, I'm just worried.
You can also set your notifications on it. So if you want it to be, like a 6.5 or something that we saw or larger, like we saw on Ridgecrest, you can set it for that. It doesn't have to be as sensitive at 4.5.
Yeah.
I've been through enough earthquakes in my lifetime living in Southern California, like I said, the huge Sylmar earthquake, Northridge. I remember the Whittier.
Big Bear Landers.
Oh, my God, Big Bear. Yep. I remember feeling all of those.
Yeah, we felt them all here in Tehachapi, yeah.
And, so a 4.5, you kind of, okay. But there's difference between rollers and the hard jolts and different things.
Yeah,
And those that maybe have relocated from the East Coast here, I always
there's
seems to
nothing
be the biggest
better.
fear.
There's nothing better, though. Like I said, the 4.5s, you and I have been in California our entire lives, right? A 4, it's like, nudge me when we're talking about actually shaking. Right. I remember one of the kind of random sort of 4 and change rollers they had, I don't know, probably 5 years ago. We felt it. I was in Bakersfield at the time, and I'm working and with a guy from the East Coast. And the two of us are in the office, 3 of us in the office, and I start to move, and I look over the other guy, and he's like, and he's a California guy. He goes, earthquake? And I go, yeah, I think so. And just kind of roll through it. And then, but the guy from the East Coast, that was his first one. Oh man, he was like, what was that? What do I do? I was like, just stay, you're fine. Just, it's not a big deal. Like he did not like it.
But I do remember being on a military base in Mississippi for some training, and we were in Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
And the warnings came.
That's terrible.
And they told us, where we had to go. And it was like at a moment's notice. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, cows
What do I
are going to
do?
go flying through the air and different. You know, it's like I'm thinking of all these movies.
Like, go to the land of Oz. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get the out of my comfort space.
Yes.
And this was something that it was like, okay.
Right.
And if they have tornadoes, they know when winds come at the weather. The National
And
Weather
there's
Service is
shelters
able
everywhere.
to. Right.
Yeah.
So now that we've got an earthquake app here in California, it's giving you seconds. I mean, it's
Right.
giving you the opportunity to move away from the glass windows
Sure.
and things like that. So for me, I downloaded the app, so
Mm-hmm.
I've got it. I haven't had an activation yet, so
Yeah,
that's
good.
That's good.
Right.
And,
And we've done a better job too, I think, as a society. We've talked about this though with damage when it comes to earthquakes and that kind of stuff. I mean, look at the Ridgecrest earthquakes, for example. The damage happened on China Lake, the base, the old buildings, stuff built in the 40s and 50s. The town itself, outside of some homes that were, mobile, was fine for the most part because of California's building standards and
the retrofits, that have gone on, I
retrofitting
think.
and
Yeah.
building codes that are a pain sometimes. But when something like that happens, you go, oh yeah, that was 7.1, and there wasn't a lot of residential damage, which normally if that would have happened even 30, 40 years ago, that would have been a catastrophe. So we've certainly come a long way, and our threshold of major earthquake, I think, has slid up a bit. But I think it's just another tool to have, along with all that preparedness stuff that she talks about and you've talked about quite a bit as well.
Preparing for this podcast, I downloaded a little map that lists the major faults in Kern County around us. So we're not far from the San Andreas Fault.
Nope.
We know that, if you drive through the 14 through Palmdale right there at Avenue S, between Avenue S and Palmdale Boulevard, you can see the San Andreas as it crosses the 14 because it cuts into it.
Yeah.
And I know that Caltech, and when I used to work down there, they would constantly take classes out there to look at that fault line, and it's pretty impressive. Yeah. But that's within our region. We've got the Garlock Fault, which we've heard conversation about since Ridgecrest.
Since Ridgecrest, it's kind of woken up the Garlock Fault, so to speak. Yeah.
And the White Wolf Fault,
yeah,
which has had a little bit of activity, some minor things in the last year or so.
Right. And that was one of the big ones from 52 that was activated, was the White Wolf Fault. And I've actually I've been on a piece of property that overlooks the White Wolf Fault. And it's no doubt it's there. It's just basically two rock shears on each side, and it kind of looks like a canyon. And then boom, you can see where the plates basically come together, and it's not too far outside of the city up there by the wind turbines. So I mean, they're all around us.
That's pretty amazing. And then there's the Kern Canyon Fault. It looks like it's a little bit closer to Lake Isabella in that area, and the Sierra Fault, which is on the eastern side of the Sierras there, as you just kind of start going north of the 58.
Yeah.
But those are all impact fault lines that would be in and around the Tehachapi area.
Right.
So, we do have earthquake faults. We have had historic earthquake here in Tehachapi that are historic in California as with all-time, top shakers.
Yeah.
The 52 quake was.
Yeah, and that's even changed just the way that we even built as a community. I mean, back then it was on reinforced masonry buildings, and they were 3-4 stories tall downtown. Those all came tumbling down, with the exception of basically one or two. And so that all went away. They left the building codes, and even then the city adopted ordinances that said, okay, downtown you could be no longer, no higher than 2 stories, because that was just, they didn't have the technology then to, retrofit and didn't really understand the seismology. And so they just said, okay, put a cap on it at 2 stories and get away from masonry so much. So
that's true. When you're saying that, I'm envisioning one of these photos on Green Street that shows a 3 or 4 story building at turn of the century back in 1900. Yeah. And then, today they all came down because they were all just brick structures that were 3-4 stories tall. I mean, total shame. I mean, I see some of those pictures too. I mean, the corner of Green and Tehachapi Boulevard, the building that was there, beautiful, where Gallery and Gifts is at now, and a beautiful brick. I mean, facade, really cool looking, and that all came down when that happened. And so, the initial reaction was just don't build up anymore. And so since then, that's changed. It's changed worldwide. And we saw even that earthquake in Japan just a few weeks back. The entire building literally swaying,
and that they're designed to do that. Whether or not you want to be in
Right.
it when it happens is another story. But yeah, the buildings are designed to sway and go with, the shocks and springs they built in these buildings now to actually go with the earthquakes, which, I'll pass on that one. But that's what some people, it's safety that they built into that. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And if you'd like more information, again, you can download the MyShake app on your iOS. You're at the App Store, and it's also available on Google Play. And then you can also go to earthquake.ca.gov. That's the Cal OES website for this application, and you can learn more about it if you just like some more information. But I think it's worth looking at.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like another tool in your kind of preparedness kit.
Well, Corey, we talked about the small business loyalty program that's kicking off. That's pretty exciting. And Tehachapi, we have broken the top 100 for the second time in our short history.
There we go.
We are in, I think it was number 83 or 84 in the top 100 of Apple podcasts for government podcasts.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I mean, obviously the conversation we had about school districts, and the schools reopening and the wake of COVID was part of that, and a big promotion came out of that too, with the school district actually using that to send out district wide and said, this is what we're thinking here. We did an interview, listen to it,
right?
Which was great, because this is exactly what we sort of, these are the conversations you can't have in a newspaper article.
Right.
You can't have with 2 minutes on TV and a 30-second soundbite. These are full conversations and so the school district saw that as a valuable tool to say, here's what we're thinking. Here's what our superintendent, her thoughts on this. And so that was exactly what we kind of set out to do with this program, and that gave us a huge bump.
So if you're listening to us and you get a chance to write a review, give us that review, because that does help us in our rankings.
So far, they're all good on Apple.
They are.
So far.
Yeah, there's not a ton of them, but those that have been very nice in complimenting the things that they've said, and we appreciate that. And we also invite you to reach out to us if there's a topic that you would like us to talk about. We'll find the guest, as we found Amanda today from Cal OES to talk about this earthquake app.
Yeah.
We'll search it out and find someone to come in and talk about what you are interested in hearing and how it relates to Tehachapi. Yeah. Just send us an email, media@tehachapicityhall.com, and we'd love to hear from you.
And quick update, no Walt. Paul Winston we had on the program a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And he was trying to find that last, I need this hallway and I'm having trouble. And we threw out the possibility, hey, what about the old hospital? And, I gave him contact information, and literally he posted a picture of the storyboard that he had sent us months ago of the shot he was looking for, and the long hallway of the old hospital. And he was like, winner, winner, chicken dinner. We've got it. Yeah. And so they're actually setting up filming in that hospital. It's actually scheduled to be torn down soon. The hospital district just voted to tear down that building. And so he said, I'm trying to schedule filming before they schedule demo. But it was a spitting image. He couldn't have imagined it any better when this thing got storyboarded. So Nawalt will be coming back and filming just right down the road here at the old hospital building.
That's very
perfect
cool
shot. I mean, it couldn't have worked out better, and so we're happy to help them out.
It's funny, when he described it to me, that's what I envisioned, that old hospital going in there, and I remember I threw that idea out to him, and he came up and he didn't look. He looked at the healthcare district, which is located in
their office,
their office, and not at the old hospital, thinking that wasn't what we were talking about, and then we had the podcast and said, no, you were looking at the wrong location.
The hospital building. Yeah. And what a great time for him to do that too, because it's a building that is going to be demoed.
Right.
And so you can do whatever you want. I mean, you go in there, set up your lights, do what you need to do. You're not displacing anybody.
Right.
It's vacant. It's going to work out absolutely perfectly. I'm so excited for him to get that project finished here in Tehachapi as well.
Well, maybe we can get a guest part or something, just the guy standing outside.
Right. Guy on cell phone. Yeah. Like I said, my big my big summer blockbuster debut, I was football coach number 2. Right. So look it up.
That's it. Well, folks, send us that email. We'd love to hear from you. media@tehachapicityhall.com. We'd like to thank Amanda Moyer, the program manager over at Cal OES, for their earthquake early warning program. We appreciate her time today. And again, we thank you for subscribing, following us, and give us that review. We appreciate it. Corey, thanks for joining me today.
Alrighty.
Tehachapod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of Tehachapod.